All right, guys, this is one of the most looked forward to fights of the year for me. Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat UFC 319, delivered in a lot of ways. The main card just flew by, and then we got a main event that, I don't know. Let's break it down. Let's figure it out. Let's see what's next. Join me here live from main card minute himself, Bong Island Luke. Yes, you've got the Geelong Cats t-shirt. The boys are playing number 3 on the ladder. You got the flag. Of course, main card minute. You guys just got done in a whole stream. Beautiful stream. A lot of great moments to cover. And, of course, you kill it on Morning Combat. For those that haven't seen you do your thing, you're always the best. Thanks so much for joining me, man. What a interesting reaction time for us both.
Interesting is a good word, Dennis. It was a weird card. I feel like it ended, despite ending on a dominating note, it ended on a weird note for me. I feel like I'm underwhelmed after that. I don't know why.
It's so crazy though, dude, because the main card probably delivered more than like main card. Like we have so many narrative storylines, things to get into, crazy. Like 2 spinning elbow knockout finishes like that, absolutely devastating. We will talk about that in just a second. But first things first, Khamzat Chimaev goes out there and just absolutely dominates Dricus du Plessis. I'm sure there's some crazy stats out there right now that we could look up. I'm not sure if you have any right there, Luke, but Dricus du Plessis basically threw maybe like a handful of punches that whole fight. He had a couple of moments, I suppose, for a few seconds throughout the fight. Towards the end, the fight finished in this weird position where he was kind of almost like in a position to mount Khamzat or like take his back or whatever, but it just didn't really go anywhere. He was exhausted. He couldn't get much off. When I was talking to people about this fight, it was like these 2 mammoth giants coming together. And then the realization sunk in that there is just levels to the wrestling. And this is what we were going to get for 5 rounds. Luke, what was your reaction? Right off the bat, after you watched that first round and when it set in, okay, this is going to be the fight, what was your reaction?
So after the first round, I don't think reality sunk in yet because I'm still, like everyone was saying all week, Khamzat got the first 2 rounds and then it's Dricus's fight. And I think I said it late in the second round. I said, guys, I don't think this is going to be Dricus's fight after this. Khamzat was way too fresh after 10 minutes. There's no way he's going to continue, or sorry, Dricus is going to just fucking come back after that. I don't know. It was very underwhelming. I'm looking at the stats now. Khamzat took him down 12 times on 7 takedown attempts. 70% takedown percentage. I mean, unreal. Dricus did take him down once. I don't even honestly remember that. The significant strikes, by the way, not that crazy far apart. 37-13. Only 37 significant strikes for Khamzat is kind of crazy, but he did throw 567 total strikes. So there were those little pitter-patter shots to the back of the that was a weird motion, but you guys know. Pitter-patter shots to the back of the head. But damn, man, I just feel like I don't know, man. I don't know if anyone's going to beat this guy at middleweight, but I still feel so like little to be desired after that. Little to be desired. You feel the same way, Dennis?
Dude, I got to get right into that in just a second. But before I do, you mentioned the stats. Look, let me just bring it up on the screen for those at home that don't understand these stats because they're incredible. You mentioned it before, like Khamzat just landing, those many significant strikes, considering that he was controlling the fight for 21 minutes and 40 seconds. 21 minutes and 40 seconds. Absolutely incredible. Just looking at some of this stuff, I think that, look, I want to be fair because I'll be transparent with everybody at home. I've been getting a lot of comments from people saying that I had Khamzat, and just to be absolutely transparent, I have nothing against Khamzat. He was supposed to come on the show. He's just not big on interviews. I have a great relationship with this team. I have a lot of respect for what he's achieved. I think he's one of the most devastating, dominating athletes that we've had in UFC history, right, Luke? Like, you can't take away the impact that this guy has, like sitting across his opponents from the cage, doing that weird look to him, and we got it today. It's almost like the stare down between both guys before the fight happened in that octagon was the highlight of the whole fight. Like,
I 100% agree, dude. That literally was the build up was better than the actual performance, you know? And then it sucks to say that, but it's true.
Yeah, and then when I watch it, look, I appreciate what Khamzat was able to do. I understand it takes great difficulty. I acknowledge that he's on another level and that he's a dominating devastating middleweight champion. But yeah, I mean, I can understand because, you know, I told my partner, I told my friends, I told all these people, don't miss this fight. This is the fight that you can't miss. This is the fight you have to watch. I got multiple people being like, this is the fight you told me to watch. Oh, like people were walking away. My partner's like, I'm going to go do something in the other room. There was a feeling after the third round. You could feel it in the crowd where they started booing. It's not that Khamzat dominance wasn't impressive. I mean, we just looked at the stats and it was. And we'll talk about the narrative of Dricus du Plessis and everything else that follows right after this. It's just that it just did not deliver the kind of gladiator, behemoth, two powerhouses coming at each other that we would have liked to see. Now, with Khamzat's domination, it was incredible. He came out there, he was able to dominate the positions and maintain control. But what I have liked more, like you have someone in the crucifix position. We heard Daniel Cormier talk about the time he fought Pat Cummins and finished him in the crucifix. Would you have liked to see someone be, you know, more damage, you know, more significant shots in the, like if he took DDP out there and just went crazy at him in those positions, got a submission early on, you know, almost like what he did to Robert Whittaker. I think maybe the conversation would have been different for a lot of fans, or the feeling would have been a little bit different. I think we saw him dominate, but we didn't see a finish. And I think the disappointment from the high buildup and the expectation of this fight for like a year now, almost in our minds, is kind of what gives us this empty feeling at the end of the day, where we're like, yeah, he did dominate him, but yeah, it does leave you wanting for more. And I don't know. What do you think, Luke? Like the finishing sequence of the fight, again, like Dricus absolutely got dominated. I don't want to make it sound like he did more than what he did, because he basically did nothing the whole fight except for defend. But just the fact that he ended up in that kind of position on Khamzat towards the end of the fight, like it's probably not the way you want to finish out a dominating performance like that. You know what I mean?
I know.
I don't know.
I feel like, dude, first of all, if that fight had one more round, not even one more round, one more minute, I could get my hopes up. I could be like, yo, Dricus might have pulled that off. I don't think he was gonna. I will say, I'm not to go into the co-main yet, so I won't, but I feel like we almost had reverse performances. I think we expected to have what we had in the main event in the co-main, and I think we expected to have in the co-main what we had in the main, you know? I don't know about you. I had Lerone Murphy winning the whole time. I had him by decision, though. I thought it was going to be, you know, a Lerone Murphy decision. And I was thinking the main event, like you said, might have been a lot better if Khamzat got an early finish. I thought it was going to be an early finish. I thought it was DDP, but I thought it would be an early finish. So I was like, damn, yo, we kind of got the roles reversed here. We got a, not boring, but, you know, a dominating 5-round fight that was a little underwhelming. And then we got an exciting finish in the co-main. So.
I can kind of like compare it to maybe like, you know, John Fitch, great fighter, used to dominate people in his fights. Maybe compare it to that kind of feeling, where I think with Khamzat, we expect him to dominate and destroy, and then we got that kind of domination. And I still absolutely give him all the credit in the world for that domination. I just think people expected something else.
Yeah.
And that's why we feel a little bit disappointed. Quickly as well with Dricus, you got to take your hat off to him for not just giving it all in and not letting Khamzat submit him like towards the third round, right? Like the guy stayed in it. He kept trying, but just, it was clear, right? Look, and I didn't even, like, I never thought this, because Dricus has looked so well-rounded. He looked so good against guys like Robert Whittaker. Like he's actually used some wrestling before, some grappling before. He's shown us that he's somewhat dangerous, or at least well-versed in those areas. I didn't realize that we're looking at like Khamzat here, and like DDP's not even on the screen. Like that is the discrepancy, right? The discrepancy was, and that's the funny thing. Like I saw a lot of people say, well, he should do this, that, and the other. You can't, when your discrepancy is that big, you can't just make an adjustment in between rounds to do anything. Like Khamzat was going to take him down. Is there anything Dricus could have done, in your opinion, here, like after the second or third round, to change any of this?
Dude, I wish. He seemed so helpless with the takedown defense. And like you said, he's looked so much better in that department in previous fights. It was absurd. It really does make you wonder, like, is Khamzat levels above him, or was Dricus just like a lot of people have been saying, Dricus isn't the best anywhere. He's just the best MMA fighter. He's good at this. He's good at this. He's good at this. And this was almost like when Islam fights someone you think is really good, and you're like, oh, but he's the best at wrestling. So this is a dominating performance. Like, it feels like Chimaev is the best at 185 pounds at wrestling. And this is just, oh, no one can hang with him. We were talking off camera, dude. Like, Fluffy Hernandez is arguably, maybe Kyle Bohalio, the best chance to beat Chimaev, and I don't really give either of those guys a chance against him. Like, it's crazy. It's kind of disappointing. I'm not gonna
I
lie, but
I think it's also crazy because now it's evident to me and clear that it's Khamzat, his division is middleweight. I think a lot of the issues that he had was from having to cut down to welterweight. You know how we spoke about cardio, this, that, and the other. Like, obviously, middleweight, the guy can go. It seemed like for 5 rounds, pretty comfortable. Like towards the end, he was getting a bit tired, but he was like riding DDP out for 5 rounds, right in the main event of a title fight. But he looked better. I reckon like middleweight is his weight class. And now it's almost like, all right, like the welterweight stuff that we spoke about him like gassing, getting tired, this and that. I feel like he's just a different beast at middleweight. I just think that weight card and that weight class is probably more of a detriment to his cardio or taking the same kind of damage as in middleweight. I also want to talk to you here, Luke, because look at the division right now. You mentioned who can create the biggest issues here. So we got Imavov fighting Kaya Bahia. And you mentioned that, maybe Kaio could be the one that gives him some kind of problems. Before we talk about them or even potentially Fluffy, what do you make of people thinking, well, what about RDR? This guy is a submission guy. This guy bases his whole game off submissions. And Khamzat, that's where he is most dangerous. Do you think that RDR could fit in as a challenge here with Khamzat? I think the other interesting thing between Kaya and RDR here is these guys have both trained with Khamzat, which, by the way, I think that's an important. Do you think that's an important thing? Because if you train with a guy and you go on to fight him, at least you kind of know what to expect to some degree. And I think that's the thing with Khamzat. Like, people do not understand what they got themselves into with him until he's like on top of you.
true. But let's be real. How much do you really know from training with him? What you're getting into? He's not
It's
going to
true.
be going all out on his sparring partners and stuff. So I do feel like that alone is like, I don't know, dude. I don't think dude, we've all been saying DDP RDR is the fight to make. I mean, now it's more than ever. You do DDP RDR, you do the winner of Bohalio Imavov versus Chimaev, and you do the loser of that versus Fluffy. There you go, Sean Shelby. Mick Maynard, I don't know who runs this division. Done.
So we're doing the loser of Imavov and Kaio for Fluffy?
For Fluffy, yes.
Yeah.
Right. And then because RDR DDP is such a fun fight, you can't miss out on this. And it's perfect now because RDR arguably didn't deserve the title shot. Now you got DDP coming off a loss. He doesn't deserve an immediate rematch. I mean, that was a domination. He got 10-8'd in 2 rounds, I think. And Fluffy kind of in no man's land now, coming off of a good win, but really kind of needs that one more win. And then Bohalio Imavov now truly becomes the #1 contender fight now that DDP is out of the picture, I think. BC brought up on MK that he was saying, like, does this open up the door for Whitaker and Adesanya now that, like, Chimaev's champ? And before this fight happened, I would have agreed 100% with that. Like, yeah, hell yeah, I would see Chimaev Adesanya. But given how good he looked against Dricus, I'm like, fuck, man. I don't think those fights go well for either of those guys. So I don't know.
Yeah, and we'll talk about Izzy in just a sec, a little later when we talk about MVP, because I want to get your thoughts on that matchup there. But just quickly, another man in the chat that we haven't mentioned is Paulo Costa. Do you think that he might be a good matchup for DDP?
I mean, that's a fun fight. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think Paulo Costa deserves that yet. You're gonna get the champ coming off of a loss, and you're like, what is Paulo on the rankings? Like,
have a
10.
Look here.
Yeah, see, he's not even in those top 10.
Yeah.
He's the 10 to 15 range.
He's number 12 at the moment.
Okay,
he's behind.
12.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned to you before, Dennis, I love the Izzy Costa rematch. That to me is the fight to make. That's a winnable fight for Izzy. It's also like an intriguing matchup. Costa, it's winnable for Costa. I still would favor Izzy in that fight, but it'd be fun either way to see that.
Mm. It would be interesting actually, because maybe DDP could work on his grappling ability and his wrestling, and then going into the RDR fight, that could be like a statement. Like if he could put some stuff together in that fight, even on the ground, just to show, okay, I deserve to eventually work my way back up to a Khamzat fight. All right, yeah. So yeah, Anthony Hernandez. I know you mentioned Kaio and him, maybe toughest challenges for Khamzat. I think that's what makes it interesting, right? Because of the ability that he has in his stamina, his cardio, and his grappling. Maybe he's someone that could potentially make this an interesting fight. I guess what a lot of people are seeing now is it's like Hamza's going to go out against everybody, just take them down and either control them or probably submit them, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's again, not to go back to Islam, but it's an Islam situation where it's like, I don't care how good you are in this division, I don't think you're beating this guy at this thing right now. So, not that I love when guys jump divisions and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to be a double champ." He's even argued triple champ, which slow your roll. But I'd argue him going down to 170 if Islam beats JDM. That's a pretty damn intriguing fight. Khamzat versus Islam, like that might be the new Ilya Islam, I think.
Dude, I think, yeah, if you're JDM right now in the welterweight division, JDM, he's a bad man. I think he's a little bit underrated, but you're like, great. Like, first I'll get through Islam. Then I'm probably going to eventually have to fight Hamza. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's got to fight like all of the best champions, basically. I guess we'll see what happens with that next. I just can't believe Dricus was beaten like that, man. It's okay. So he goes in, he potentially fights, he potentially fights RDR. I'm still shocked about what happened. Let's talk about a couple of the other shocking things from this evening. What about Lorne Murphy going out there and putting on that kind of knockout against Aaron Pico? Pico went out there. He was pushing the action. He looked dangerous. He looked like he was in the best shape of his life. Murphy put him out so bad that he was laying on the canvas and he was still out, like for ages after the fight was stopped, just laying there. It was an absolutely like devastating knockout for Murphy. And you mentioned it earlier. This was the fight many people thought Murphy potentially would get, this 3-round kind of domination that he usually gets. He went out there and he basically took advantage of the moment, took the fight on 3 weeks' notice. In this moment where maybe like Khamzat might have gotten some boos and lost some of that, a little bit of the momentum with certain fans, although he did so well, I almost feel like it's the opposite for Murphy, right? He went out there. No one really wanted to see him fight. No one gave him any props. Even after he took this fight, they're like, it's Murphy. And I feel like after this fight, even Alex Volkanovski's like, I'll see you in December. Isn't it crazy?
Did he say that? Or you're saying you think he would say that? Or he said
he did say it. So,
dude.
Yeah.
That's intriguing. Because I was saying going into this fight, I don't honestly see a world if Lerone Murphy. I said if Lerone Murphy wins, they're going to feed him to Movsar. And I said if Pico wins, they're going to give him to Volk. But you're right, dude. He blew the fucking doors off. Oh my God. Let's go, Volk.
Have a look at this. This is a video from Engage, obviously a fantastic brand down here owned by Ash and Alex Volkanovski now. And this is his immediate reaction afterwards. Of course, they put the "see you in December" tag there. Alex tweeted that out, and then they got like an immediate reaction from him. And
bring it.
Let's go. I love that.
I think with Alex Volkanovski, dude, like knowing Alex as long as I've known him, I know he was just waiting for someone to break through as a contender. I know he's been waiting to get it back in there. His eye was healing up after the Diego Lopez fight, but he wants to maximize his time. And I think when he saw Murphy do that, I think he was so impressed. I mean, he was on Twitter straight away. They put out the video and engaged straight away. And then Dana White said that he loves the idea at the press conference of them fighting in December. Isn't that crazy? Murphy going from a position where no one wanted to see him fight to 3 weeks' notice and now getting this title shot. Unbelievable.
Let's go. Props to the man, but also not to throw a damper on Murphy's parade right now. But if they don't book this fight in the next 30 days and John Silva goes out there and knocks out Diego Lopez or finishes Diego Lopez, do you not think they're going to want to do Volk versus Gian Silva? I feel like that's still on the table. Unless they go in the next 30 days, they go, oh, it's Volk versus Murphy on the December card or on the January card, whatever. So I'd be a little worried if I'm Lerone right now, but also fucking phenomenal win. I took him as a dog tonight. I thought he would win by decision. I didn't think he would do that. I was a little worried in the first 2 minutes. Pico looked good, like you said. All week, I'm going, damn, Pico. Pico's very likable. I'm rooting for Pico. I'm not going to lie. But Lerone Murphy, a lot like his countryman, Leon Edwards, the dark horse of the division that I kind of the whole time was rooting for and like, yo, you guys don't realize this is the guy. This is the guy. And he showed it tonight. So let's go, Lerone. Props to you, man.
Dude, you know what's crazy? I had him on the show maybe like a month or two ago, and everybody was dissing him. They're like, man, what, you know, like basically, why did you interview this guy? Blah, 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 blah. Like people were so anti him. I didn't realize how bad it was. But one of the things we spoke about was Alex Volkanovski. And he said in that, okay, so it was 12 weeks ago. And he said in this interview, and have a listen to this, why he's the most dangerous opponent for Alex right now.
Dangerous matchup for him, obviously. And other than that, I really can't see nobody. I think he beats Movsar over 5 rounds for sure. I think he's too smart. I don't think Movsar's going to be able to take him down that easily. If he does, Volkanovski will scramble up and tire him out. I'm a 5-round fighter. I can push the pace with 5 rounds easily. And I think that's what will give Volkanovski difficulties. I can't see anybody else right now challenging him in that top 5, top 6 anyway.
What do you think, man? I mean, he made the case back 12 weeks ago to me why he's the hardest fight for Alex Volkanovski. I think that this win over Pico adds a certain element of excitement and danger to him that he didn't maybe have before. But what do you make of him as a challenge for Alex Volkanovski?
Again, because Pico kind of dominated the first, this fight lasted 3 minutes. I'm not going to read too much into it, but he kind of was dominating the first 2.5 minutes. Pico, or I'm not going to say Murphy got lucky with that spinning elbow. It was fucking beautiful, but I didn't learn much from him here. Would I favor him in a fight against Volk? No, hell no. But I also he wrote off Movsar. I think Movsar has a better chance against Volk than Lerone does. I also would argue that if Aljamain Sterling beats Brian Ortega next weekend, Aljamain Sterling versus Volk is a great fight to make.
Stop with this Aljamain Sterling
Dude,
thing, man. I love you.
Great fight to make.
I love you.
That is a great fight to make. Come
Never
on.
happening. No.
Champ versus champ. Let's go.
I know. And I think they're friends. And I love Aljo.
They are.
I think he needs 2 more, right? Ortega and 1 more person.
Yeah, he does need 2 more, especially because the UFC doesn't love him. But I mean, that to me is Australia versus Long Island. I'll take that all day, man. Let's go.
I think that he, maybe get him to fight. You know what? The rankings at featherweight are so cooked. Like, just quickly, let me have a look here, because this is the problem, right? With Ortega, he's ranked 4th in the rankings.
Absurd.
But it's like, what is this version of Ortega? Like, I don't even know. Like, in my head, like, he's not even in the top. Yeah, I don't know. The rankings are a bit weird. You got Arnold Allen at number 5. You've got Brian Ortega number 4. I would almost argue, and this is the funny thing, Patricio Pitbull, he's number 11. You can almost argue people kind of rank him over Ortega in their minds right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's weird. Looking at that division, like Gian Silva, you mentioned it, he's 10. If he beats Diego Lopez, that's going to make things interesting, like you said. He could steal the title because he's so popular if he just destroys Lopez.
That's what I'm saying.
It's an interesting time in the division. Let's also talk about just quickly. And by the way, Aaron Pico, right? Man, what a brutal debut in the UFC. He's still young. He can still come back. I still think that he's got an opportunity to bounce back in this division. There's a lot of aging veterans I feel like he could fight to get himself back up on. But dude, after a knockout like that, he's going to be out now you would hope this isn't a Charles Oliveira situation where he's fighting at UFC Brazil a few weeks later, right?
UFC Albuquerque. He'll be headlining in 2 months.
Dude, that's yeah. Like as Dan Hooker said, I don't know what vet he went to get his like doctor's certificate from, but it's just not. This is just not going to happen. Hey, by the way, speaking of UFC Brazil, bro, what about our man Carlos Prates, who was having a sig in the post-fight press conference? This guy is an absolute machine. Sometimes I'll WhatsApp with him. Like he's like the nicest dude ever, but he is like legit. He's out there. He's having a drink. He's having a cig. He's partying. He's hanging out with all the guys in the club. Nicest guy behind the scenes, but also one of the most brutal guys in the octagon. Over 100 fights combined when you combine all of the fights across all the different types of combat sports he's been involved with. And Jeff Neal, bro, like he went out there and he tried to bring it. And you just saw, dude, Carlos Prates, if you keep the fight standing with him, like the guy is just having the time of his life.
Yeah.
Brilliant leg kicks and just looked like he was basically in Disneyland the whole fight with Neal. Even when Neal was landing, was just loving the whole thing.
I loved Jeff Neal in this fight. I was telling everyone, not that I thought Jeff Neal would win, but they do these spread bets on DraftKings where like, oh, as long as he covers the judges' scorecard spread bet. So like he just needed to win a round. I was like, yo, I like Jeff Neal to win a round here. And I also thought it would go the distance, which I know was a crazy pick. Jeff Neal going all week. Oh, this is going to end in the first round. The fight goes 4.5 minutes. And I go, all right, Jeff Neal, this shit ain't ending in the first round. And then my stream buffers, my boy Gaff goes, Prates just knocked him out. He was fucking with me. It didn't happen yet. 5 seconds later, he goes, holy shit, Prates actually just knocked him out. I missed the whole fucking finish. I was so mad about it. It ruined the whole night for me. Also, I needed the over 1.5 in that fight. That really ruined it for me. But Carlos Prates, arguably one of the most likable people in MMA right now. I was watching the Embeddeds. I was like falling in love with. I was like, this guy is one of my favorite fighters right now. He's fun to watch. He's got a great personality. He speaks that like perfect broken English second language where it's like silly, funny. I like it's Carlos Prates. Props to you, my man. Great performance tonight.
Dude, it was crazy because after that Ian Gary loss, which by the way, he got close to sort of turning around towards the end there. I feel like people were not down on him, but people kind of sold their Carlos Prates stock. And I think after that win there, they're like, dude, now he's coming back around, fighting UFC Brazil, got the bonus. By the way, here he is having a cigarette at the post-fight press conference. I love that. Yeah. He's a bad man. He wants Leon Edwards next. What do you think, man? If you're Leon Edwards right now, do you do it? Do you bite the bullet? I know he's probably being a little bit careful with what's next for him.
I'm trying to think of what Leon should take in this moment. Leon should take like Joaquin Buckley at number 8. Leon sitting at number 4. You know, he should take a safe fight here if he can. Not that that's safe, but you know what I mean. Someone in my chat mentioned this, and I sorry I don't remember who said it, but I got to give them credit. Michael Morales versus Carlos Prates. That is the fight right there. That sounds fantastic.
Dude, that would be a crazy fight. And I mean, just looking at the division here, we got Bilal there. I think he's saving himself for Kamaru. By the way, what about when the Chicago crowd booed Bilal? I was like, dude, this guy gets no love. Like, god damn.
And he's telling DDP to check in with him all week, and then the crowd's booing him. It's like, bro, come on. Your own city's booing you. This is
God. Yeah, we got Sean Brady, Shavkat. He's still coming back from injury. Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman. There's no way Kamaru fights Carlos. I don't think he's holding out for a title shot. Yeah. Ian Gary's trying to get himself in there. He'll probably fight Sean Brady. Yeah, Michael Morales, Joaquin Buckley. Colby Covington, I wonder what's going on with him, man. But I mean...
Doesn't do it for me. I don't know about you, but...
Tough fight, I think, for Covington. I mean, I think there's a way for him to win if he wrestles, but... I don't know, man. He's taken a lot of damage. He's a friend of the show, obviously, and he's actually, like, nicest dude. One of the nicest guys who meet behind the scenes when he's like not in character. He's like a really caring dude.
I've heard that from everyone, but I don't dislike really the guy. I got a poster of him. I mean, right
yeah, he really cares about people. Like he had a bit of a rough run. I think the UFC kind of wanted to cut him, and he had to go into this character. And then I think but I don't know, man. I don't know. He just looks like, I don't know. I don't know if that's the fight for him. But yeah, man, Carlos Prates, Leon Edwards, or I'd love I don't know what they're going to do. I'd love the Morales fight.
The
What would
Morales
that fight even look like with Morales, bro? That's like,
That's why it's so intriguing. You know, they'd stand and bang, and you know, it's just like the Jeff Neal fight. You know, someone's lights is probably going out in that, or you learn a lot about one of them where you're like, oh, Michael Morales can wrestle. You know, like, I don't know. There's something to come out of that fight. Whereas Leon Edwards, Carlos Prates, not that it's a bad fight, and I like Leon a lot, but it's just, I think Leon deserves a little like a favor here. You know, he doesn't deserve the up and coming killer kind of thing. How old is Carlos Prates? Young 30s?
Yeah, Carlos Prates is, and by the way, I was just having a look at their reach. Carlos Prates has 78-inch reach. He's like a sneaky,
long, yeah.
He's a sneaky long dude. You never think about it. Like, I met him in person before, and he was in a hotel lobby after the fights, just chilling in the chair, and he just looks like some dude that's like backpacking through Australia. Like, you wouldn't even think nothing. Then when he's in shape and in that octagon, dude, right? And he's in there, like, holy shit, this guy's actually pretty big. So he's got 78-inch reach. Morales has 79, but that's actually pretty close. And yeah, that's going to be a fascinating fight. He's 31 years old. So the time is now for Prates. This is the thing with Prates, though, before we move off this fight. I think the UFC need to look at this guy as a showcase fighter. And what I mean by that is, like, do we need the welterweight division, the picture right now? It's so packed. We've got all our fights basically for the next year at least. Let's build like some of these guys. And like, I feel like Prates, he could headline UFC cards probably for the next 4 or 5 years, right? Like, you could just keep putting him in there in that position. I want to maybe compare him to like a Cowboy Cerrone in a way, but maybe more like a Nate Diaz, because I feel like Prates has he's more of a fan favorite. Like, I feel like Cerrone was a fan favorite, but I think Prates is that dude. Like, he's almost like a pro wrestler. He's got that gimmick, but that's who he really is. Yeah. Like, the UFC need to forget about this, like, getting this guy to the title, blah, blah, blah bullshit. Let's just utilize him for his talents and pay him as much money as we can and just have him put on fights.
I 1000% agree. We actually said earlier on my stream too, we said he is the Donald Cerrone. I said he's a fan favorite. Just put him in fun fights. We don't care if he ever wins a title. I don't care if he's ever even top 10, even though he probably already is. But just put him in fun fights. I compared him also to Justin Gaethje at first, but then I kind of slowed my brakes because Justin Gaethje's kind of been a perennial title contender. I don't want to disrespect the guy. But Donald Cerrone, perfect, even though he also challenged for a title. But, you know, Donald Cerrone, perfect comparison there. I love that.
Yeah, that's really a good dude. All right, just quickly before we wrap up, we'll go to a couple of fan questions quickly, but before we go to them, an MVP, he went out there, he knocked down Jared Cannonier, hit him in the second round really nicely too, and then ended up down on the bottom with Cannonier on top of him for that third round. And it was an interesting performance. I mean, you can't take away anything from MVP. Like, the guy is an exciting, unorthodox ninja in there, like a one of one that you don't really see very often. At the same time, middleweight is just obviously not really the weight class for him. Like, he's just not big enough, right? Like, he spoke about Jared Cannonier just being too strong and kind of holding him down on the ground. He's also kind of a little further along in his fight journey. Like, this isn't a guy that's going to pick up D1 wrestling by his next fight, right? Like, it's probably not going to happen. And the guys towards the top of both of his divisions are kind of cooked when it comes to, like, wrestling. Well, I guess middleweight, you've got some more fun matchups for him than probably welterweight. So what do you do with this MVP character next? All we know about Michael Venom Page is that he wants to fight and he wants to stay active. So he's just gone through Jared Cannonier. I don't know how to describe that performance. Like, how would you describe that performance?
I mean, the way you're describing, it's like it left a sour taste in our mouth because he lost the last round clearly, and he kind of lost the second half of the second round. So it's like, if that was pride rules, maybe he loses that fight. You know, I don't know. Did he lose it in totality? I was a little frustrating if anyone had Jared. I took Jared with the spread, which did cover, so I was cool with that. But also, like, dude, why didn't you wrestle in the first round? Like, why did you you should have
Yeah.
known the game plan coming. Who wants to strike with MVP? Who wants to strike with Wonder Boy? Who wants to strike with Carlos Prates? Like, wrestle these guys. Why are you sitting there striking with them? So very frustrating in that sense.
And it's also like the way that he was like, he had him up against the fence, which I love. He's trying to put his weight behind him, but the type of takedowns he was going for, like he kept going for the double leg. He kept working this like outside trip. And I'm like, dude, just grab a single. Dude, just like he was off balance sometimes. Like MVP would just like, it wasn't, I feel like he fumbled the bag. Like I know him and his team would have worked on a number of different types of takedowns. I feel like his selection was very basic. And it was just not like MVP is kind of like a tall guy with long legs. He is not a hard guy to get in on. I don't know. I don't know what he was doing with his wrestling attacks.
I agree with that. And it also was pissing me off on the other side with MVP. Like, I know that it's MVP's shtick to like knock someone down and do a pokeball and do whatever, and I love it. It's great. That's what makes him entertaining. But it's almost like, dude, you had him hurt twice. If you just jumped on top of that and followed it up with strikes, like maybe you finished him in round 1 or round 2. And now it's like you're squeaking. I know it was unanimous, but like you're squeaking out a decision at this point. It's like, and you know what I didn't like is you were saying like he's kind of bouncing around between 70 and 85. I just assumed because he fought Shara last time at 85 that he was like committing to 85 this time. No, turns out he wants to stay at 70 and UFC's like, nah, we're just booking you for 85. So I don't love that for him against anyone at 85 because he's not committed to the division. Why are we, it's like, you wouldn't trust anyone just going up in weight to another division willy-nilly. So but at the same time, I don't know what the best path for him is. He's 38, 39 years old. He's probably only got a couple more fun fights in him. Dude, MVP Carlos Prates?
I mean, hey, that's not a bad fight at all. Carlos Prates isn't taking it to the ground. MVP's exciting. I wonder if he would do a quick turnaround. Like, that's really, really cool. That's a great idea, man. Like, I bring up both of the rankings here. The left is welterweight, right is middleweight. I'm just trying to have a look here because when I look through the top 10 of the welterweight division, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if MVP's winning too many of those fights. Like, I don't know how many fun fights there are there really for him. When I have a look to the right to the middleweight division, there are some fun fights there. Some of the fights that stand out to me, like, don't we think that it's time maybe like Robert Whittaker just got an easy fight? Like not an easy fight because MVP's obviously a tough competitor, but he just beat Jared Cannonier, who's kind of like the gatekeeper of that division. And, Robert Whittaker is probably going to be looking to fight in Australia. It could be a big fight for MVP versus Robert Whittaker. People are wondering where Rob is at the moment. Like, do we just do that? Like, that's a fun fight for both guys. And I think if I'm MVP, I'm like, well, this guy probably isn't going to be really like wrestling me either. He has his own kind of thing that he does. I don't know.
I love that. And it's probably mostly because I'm a Robert Whittaker fan. But, I really do love that fight. I know they would never fight each other because they're boys, but Izzy MVP would also be a dream. But Whittaker,
do you think
MVP,
do you reckon that would be a good fight though? Like stylistically?
I mean, it might be like
Wonder Boy told me. That's what Wonder Boy, I said to Wonder Boy, and he goes, I don't think it would be a good fight. And then I'm like, well, and then I'm thinking like with Izzy, because both guys have the ability to avoid each other's shots, and both guys have the ability, they have some of the best movement in the game. So it could be like a kind of a karate. I don't know. It could be good. I don't know.
The difference is Wonder Boy and MVP are both very karate based, whereas you could argue Izzy's more kickboxing, like there's a little more stylistically that's intriguing. Either way, it's not happening. We don't even have to fantasize about it. Whittaker is the move if he stays at 85. If he goes to 70, I like Prates.
Yeah, because I might just have a look here. Yeah, I mean, there's no way like Apollo Costa would likely fight him, and it doesn't really make that much sense. And then outside of that, like isn't it crazy? By the way, they wouldn't do Brendan Allen because I feel like, Brendan Allen would probably just try to take him down. Like it's not going to happen as much as Brendan Allen wants to. But yeah, look at this though, Luke. Like over Robert Whittaker, look at the names that are there. Like this is I know people have been like, yeah, the middleweight division has been pretty good before. like even like Jared Cannonier is still like if you go back 10, 15 years into the old middleweight division, Jared Cannonier probably would have beaten a lot of those guys. Look at the name of look at the killers
I
from
know.
9 upwards.
Well, they're
It's
all good.
insane.
Besides Izzy, no offense to Izzy or Sean or Imavov, they're all good grapplers. You know, they're all that alone kills MVP. You know, it's whatever.
Yeah.
I
Dude,
would
an
argue
MVP
though.
Sean Strickland fight would be so funny to watch. I don't even know what would happen. I mean, Sean would Sean just take? I don't even know. I was like, would he take him down? I don't know. He'd probably just stand with him. He'd take him
People
down.
want to see the Sean Izzy rematch. Do you have any interest in that?
Nah,
I
no
don't
way,
love that.
dude. And I don't think Sean wants to do it either. I messaged him on Instagram. I was like, hey, dude, because sometimes we'll message back and forth and I'll say, and he'll be like, nah, this is what's really going on about this and that. I'm like, is it true that you don't want the Izzy thing? And then he never responded, which is weird because he would usually be like, yeah, man, like I want Izzy. But I think maybe because he beat him so decisively the first time. I know Izzy wants
yeah,
that
run away
fight.
with that if you're Sean. I mean, fuck. I wouldn't get the rematch if I was Sean.
Yeah.
As much as he could beat him again, it's just
people want another fight with Whitaker. I would like to see Whitaker maybe win one if they do fight again. Like I just want to see Whitaker get one of those boxes type, you know, like warm up. I just want to see him get a fight that he can get warmed up. And you could tell in the RDR fight, he was just not. I don't know, like he just needs a bit of activity, I feel, Whitaker, just to shake off some of the stuff that's been going on with him. And I don't know, I like the Paulo Costa fight. I reckon just do the Paulo Costa. I feel like Paulo Costa's improved enough where we could be like, all right, like let's see what happens. And Izzy's sort of gotten a little bit worse. So let's see where both guys are. And it's just like for Izzy, Costa's not like a crazy fight that's going to destroy him. And then same with Costa, you know. And then if Costa wins, he could use that for something or, you know.
And it's totally like reasonable that both guys would accept it too, because Costa wants to get that back, and Izzy's like, "Oh, that's an easy win. Yeah, I'll take that." You know, so
yeah. And if they want to do like Emirates or whatever co-main event on a pay-per-view or shit, man, like I don't even know what's going to happen with Paramount, but that could be like a really, really big fight night card somewhere as well if you main event that. I love that as well. All right, let's get into a couple of questions, man. So these are the ones from Twitter. I'll quickly go through this. The main fight was boring from Pam. This is all that we will expect from Khamzat's title reign. This will be, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, there's been a lot of fans coming out that have kind of gone sour on Khamzat. I want to get your take on this quickly, Luke. But I think that DDP actually showed a ton of heart and like didn't give up. I anticipate there will be people in there that go up against Khamzat. It's going to be very similar to the Robert Whitaker fight where he just submits him in the first round. I don't know. What do you think?
I agree with that. I think like as much as we're all kind of feeling a little underwhelmed tonight, I don't think this is the type of personally, this isn't the type of performance that I'm gonna go, oh, Khamzat, you know, is gonna be a boring fighter. Now, are you guys fucking kidding me? I mean, he probably finishes 90% of these guys in the division. So I'm a little like slow your roll on that. Also, that person was like, yeah, I'm not going to buy pay-per-views going forward. It's like, well, pay-per-views are going to be free next year, supposedly. So, you know, you don't have
That's
to buy
true, man. That's true. And I think that there's a lot in Khamzat when it comes to like following him around and the content around his life and because he's like a real life character, really interesting kind of mysterious figure. So if they can kind of tap into that, Paramount could tap into that so we can follow him and stuff. I think people really enjoy. I noticed this fight week, like people were really entertained just by like content of Khamzat because it's so rare to hear from him. So I wonder if maybe they can tap into that as a part of it as well. Another question here, 2 days until Dricus crushes Khamzat's dreams. Didn't happen. Sorry, Justin. Did you bring out the, sorry, this is actually wrong question. This is a question for something else.
That was for his coach.
That was for his coach. And it seems like, yeah, he didn't really, I don't think he brought out the taser as much as maybe he needed to. I don't know. Hey, this is a second question. When will they announce JDM in Madison Square Garden? So yeah, people are sort of wondering when that fight's going to happen. From what I'm hearing, this is apparently it's going to be November. It's going to be Madison Square Garden, Islam JDM. You like that fight next, Luke? You believe that should be the next one?
I mean, that should 1000% be the next one. I have heard the same rumor that it's going to be at MSG, but it's a little weird. Not that they haven't announced that fight, but they haven't even announced the MSG card yet, which is a little weird. Like, we all know it's coming. Just like, why isn't it on the schedule? They've already gone past it. Little weird. I love JDM. I'll be rooting for him. I'll probably be at that event, so I'll definitely be cheering him on. Let's go, JDM. But not a fight I truly favor him in, if I'm being honest. But I'll be
Oh,
rooting.
really? You feel Islam is?
I think Islam is pound for pound number one. And I don't, and I'm the biggest Marab fan I know. So, Marab's number 2 to me. Islam's number 1. Ilya's number 3. Luke's phoner can take a backseat to that, and Pantoja number 4. But I mean, not that we're going over pound for pound rankings, but yeah, Islam's my guy. So let's go Islam.
I'll tell you what though, man. JDM, young, peak of his powers, dark horse. If I'm Islam, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, because it's one of those ones where it's like people are kind of expecting Islam to do really well. And I feel like JDM has that benefit of kind of being an underdog in many people's eyes. And he's got a lot to prove and a chip on his shoulder. And he's coming off the momentum from Bilal. So I would say that like Jade, and he's got Craig Jones in his corner and a great camp and Alex Okanovsky and all this kind of stuff. So I will say that like JDM definitely one of the harder challenges that Islam has to face probably in welterweight, like just getting in there. Not like an easy fight compared to like some of the maybe previous fights he had at lightweight. Let's have a look here just quickly on the YouTube post, see what people had to ask. Sorry, this is a little bit last second. Why were pro Khamzat fans booing suddenly? Yeah, that's an interesting one. We spoke about that, right? Like heavy boos. People were really not feeling the fight live, and I think you and me covered it. But yeah, it's just that expectation, right? People just had
but I was
because it was boring. Yeah,
dude, that press conference crowd was arguably and so annoying, by the way. Like, I forget who you're rooting for, just so obnoxious. Like, Jose Youngs is trying to ask a fucking question. The guy can't even get his fucking words out because these people are yelling over him. Like, I get you want to root for the fighter. Let the reporter get his fucking question out and then boo the fighter as he's talking. But whatever, I digress. They were so pro Khamzat that night that I was a little shocked that yeah, they were a little restless, but not only that, as soon as DDP had any success, they were cheering their freaking heads off for him. They were loving that. So little weird to see it flip flop. I guess that has to do with, like you said, how the fight was going, just a boring performance. So they weren't into it. But
I will say that that's one of the things about DDP that's underrated. The guy is always going to make fun fights. Like obviously this one, he didn't have the skills to make it fun. He tried his best and he's always going to stay active. And I think Khamzat is going to dominate and then hopefully he stays active. He wants to stay active, but I think that's the thing with Dricus, right? He was always he already messaged about Anthony Hernandez after that win. Like he was already setting up fights with everyone. That's the only thing. I think that's the only difference. We'll see where Khamzat sort of sits on that. Slido, would you rather be underneath Chimaev for 5 rounds or watch a 5-round Bilal Muhammad fight? I don't know. I mean, I will say that I think both of those, I think like if Bilal's watching that, Bilal's been talking about wanting to fight DDP forever now, like there's not much sense to it and there's still not much sense to it. But I'm guessing like we'll see Bilal talk to the fact, like kind of berate Dricus for that wrestling.
Probably.
At the same time, Bilal didn't have a great performance against JDM with his own wrestling. So
yeah, I don't,
you know what I mean?
I don't think it'll be warranted, but I'm sure knowing him, he will talk some shit about it. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see what else we got. Need DDP and his coach interview. I don't know. I might have a chat with Mornay maybe tomorrow. We'll see what happens. I'm assuming those guys are still figuring out what's next. Assuming RDR is the next man up, what should he do with the 12 months of free time before his next fight? I think it's what you said, man. You do RDR. RDR is not going to be sitting around. I think we do that RDR Hernandez fight or RDR something. I don't think RDR is getting the next shot. And RDR fought 4 times this year, right, Luke? Like, I don't think he's going to be willing to just sit around and do nothing. I will say though that Hernandez fight, it's like not a walk in the park for RDR, right? Like that's not gonna.
But it's also like the most intriguing part to me in that fight is RDR's knees to the body, those fucking high ass knees he throws against, and everyone's been like, oh, Fluffy's notoriously weak to the body. Like that's an intriguing little wrinkle there. Not to mention they're both good at grappling. That is a good fight. I would never hate if they made that fight. But I think like now more than ever, RDR DDP's on the platter. Make that fucking fight. And then you decide, like, let's say Bohalio Imavov is a bust. Then you just give Fluffy the title shot and you call it a day.
It is interesting to me that they had Fluffy there, they had RDR there, Kaya there.
They had
It's just
everyone there.
but it's like, did you see Anthony Hernandez? Did they show?
Yeah. He was
showed him?
behind Kaio. It was Fluffy, Kaio, and then they panned to RDR. So they had all three.
RDR had a weird look on his face after that performance. He was kind of like, yeah, stoic.
Probably trying to be like, set a little.
If I was RDR, maybe I wonder, like, is this good for? I don't know. Maybe like, oh, holy shit. Anyway,
True.
The division's better than ever. All right, so we got morning combat, main card minute. Break it down for me, Luke. I appreciate you joining me. You must be exhausted, dude. You had a big live stream here. What's coming up? What can we look out for this week?
Dude, so I just dropped my new show, Prop Quiz. It's still on main card minute, but I had Luke and Brian on the first episode.
Yeah,
MMA
I saw
trivia.
that. Cool.
It's been by far my best video. A lot of good feedback, a whole bunch of new subscribers. So I've been really enjoying the fruits of that labor. People have been asking me, "You going to do this again?" I'm going to try and do it every week. So Dennis, I'd love to have you on in the future.
Hell yeah, man.
But yeah, MMA trivia head to head. So look out for that. MK, you guys already know, Monday, Friday, all that. Main card minute. We do the watch alongs every Saturday, bet breakdowns. And what else I got? That's it. Submission Radio is my other thing, which is this. We're right here. Let's go.
I love it, dude. Thanks so much for joining. I was going to say that's in the link in the description below. I'll link that so you guys can check out the fun new show. And just quickly as well, as we wrap up, just want to shout out sponsor, IP Vanish. A great time for you guys to join up to a new VPN. You guys can click the link below and you guys can get 83% off. What better than that? And check this out. If you do that, you guys get a free 3 GB eSIM card data gift with that. IP Vanish is the best IP Vanish VPN out there. I mean, it's the best VPN out there, bar none. Check it out. 80% off, 83% off, $2.19 per month. Only for Submission Radio listeners and friends. Click the link below. There he is.
Let's go.
Luke, I appreciate you, dude. Go have a break. You deserve it. Thanks for joining me here on Submission Radio.
Thanks for having me, Dennis. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, dude. That's it. Thanks, man. Sorry about all the tech issues.